Mic check, mic check, mic check. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming on. If you can hear my voice, go ahead and type yes. There's a little chat window. Should be to your upper yes. Yes, people are saying yes, they can hear me. Hey guys. All right, so my name is AJ. Those of you who don't know me. And first of all, I want to thank each and every single one of you guys for taking time out of your busy schedule to join Shanti and myself tonight. If you are excited about learning what everything Shanti has to share about the music industry, and when I tell you she has a lot to share, that is definitely an understatement. So first of all, I want to start welcoming people by name. Hi, Alethea. Hello, Journey. Lejanae. Hey, where you guys calling in from? Yeah, people are steady following on. Atlanta, Virginia. What else? Orlando. Wow. Atlanta, DC, New Orleans, Orlando again. Right, we got people, Shanti, they calling in from all over the globe today.
Great.
Can you guys hear Shanti's voice?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Type Shanti if you can hear Shanti's voice.
Hello.
Every time I ask a yes question and they type yes, it's just like a stream of yeses. Yes, they can hear Shanti's voice. Perfect.
What's up, everybody?
Awesome. Desiree said, hi, Shanti. Journey said, hey, Shanti.
Hey.
Taylor said, Shanti. Charlisa said, hey. Guys, we're really excited about the training tonight, and we're going to give people a few more minutes. People are steadily, Cameron said, what's up?
What's up?
People are steadily joining, so we're going to give everybody about another minute or so to join. So I guess, what colleges do we have represented here tonight? I always like to know, where people matriculated. That's my SAT word for tonight.
Because I want to come to your colleges too.
Full Sail.
Where y'all coming from?
We got Full Sail. We got Kennesaw State. More Full Sail. Hampton. Syracuse.
Cuse in the building.
Orange. Okay. Who else do we have? Ashley said, yeah, Ashley says go Orange. We got some of your alma mater.
You already know.
You already know. Now, another thing we're going to do tonight, guys, and I want you, this is going to be very interactive, right? So one of the things I want you to do is there's a little button that allows you to raise your hand. Take that button and raise your hand, because what I want to do is I want to unmute some of you guys and allow you to talk to Shanti yourself. So I know y'all love my voice and the baritone and all that, but I want y'all to actually talk to Shanti. Okay, so I see a hand or two. So we're going to give this a test run. So if you have a question that you want to start out with, raise your hand. So Shanti, we have, let's see, we're going to start with, I think I'm going to go with somebody that was on really early. So I think Lejanae, if I remember correctly, you were on early. So Lejanae, I'm going to unmute your microphone. There's also a microphone on your screen. Make sure that when I unmute your microphone, then you unmute it as well so you can talk. All right? All right, guys, we're going to give this a test run in 3, 2, 1. Lejanae Smith.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Shanti. I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. Excited to be on.
Absolutely. This is really cool. I just found out about this on Instagram, and I met you once at the Atlanta's Mayor's Office of Film and Entertainment. Yeah. So it's really cool. I'm excited to hear everything you have to say.
So much, yeah.
That's awesome. So, Lejanae, first of all, where are you calling in from? And we want everybody to go follow Lejanae, so tell us your Instagram handle. And I'm going to type
Instagram? I'll type it in too. It's at Lalo29, and I'm also Lajanae Smith on Twitter at Lajanae. This is so cool. I'm calling in from Richmond, Virginia. I'm working on a movie here, and yeah, I met Shanti in Atlanta. I'm a filmmaker and a publicist to 2 artists at johannesmusic.com. That's one artist, his website. And my other artist is Seventh Sounds with AGO in Michigan. Yeah.
You're like, hey, I came locked and loaded. So,
ready to party.
I love it.
So on Instagram, you're Lalo29, Lalo, and on you're at Lejanae.
Yep, it's Lajanae, like Janae with a law in front of it.
Give me a second. Let me.
Good luck on your film. That's great.
Thank you. This is really serendipitous. That I mean, I literally just seen it on Instagram, and I'm not on there that much, so I'm so glad I seen. Whoa, I'm getting mad followers.
That's crazy. All right, so guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. And Janae, thank you so much for your participation. You're a great sport. Everybody, go right now. Follow Janae on Instagram. Follow her on Twitter. And you know what, Janae, I'm gonna do this. You have a website. I'm going to put that on there as well. We're just going to show love to everybody that asked a question. Everybody who's bold enough to step out of the shadows. Type in your website in the chat window, Janae, and I'm going to share that with everybody on the call. And while I'm talking, guys, for those of you who've never been on a webinar before, take out your camera right now and take a picture of the screen. And I want you to post it on Instagram, and I'll tell you more in just a minute. But go ahead and take a picture of the screen and get ready to post it on Instagram, and I'm going to tell you where to do it in a minute. And while I wait for Janae, we're going to go ahead and get started. So 7. So let me type this in really quickly.
And also, guys, if you don't know, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at ShantiDos404. SHANTI-404. So please make sure that you're tagging me.
Perfect. So like Shanti said, I'm going to monitor Instagram tonight until my battery dies. And I will be taking questions via Instagram. And everybody that posts pictures, we're going to be following, and we're going to be reposting you guys. So we want you to constantly post pictures. We want you to tag Shanti and myself. And our hashtag for tonight is #WomenInMusic. Okay, so it's all about the sisters tonight. I'm gonna be quiet in just a minute. Again, I'm AJ. I'm your humble host / moderator, and I'll be out of your way in just a second. All right. So what are we gonna do tonight? So first of all, Shanti and I have been working together to get this done for about the last maybe 6 or 8 weeks, right? So Shanti is a wealth of information, and we're able to just get as much of that out of her brain and put it into this presentation that she's going to do tonight. So I want everybody, if you're here, go ahead and take notes. Like open up a Word document, pull out a notebook, take notes, take pictures of your notes, share those on Instagram. Also, take pictures of the screen as they change, put those on Instagram as well, all right? So what is the Women in Music Summit? So tonight is actually the launch. The Women in Music Summit is next Saturday, March 12th. Mm-hmm. It is from 11:45 until, what do we say, 5 o'clock?
Yep, 5:20.
5:20. Shanti has got together a superstar cast of music executives. And, she's talked with them, and they have agreed to come on and give you guys all the insider information that they can share with you to help people who are on this call and people who want to aspire to be in the music industry, to help you get into the music industry, and also to share some of the things that they've learned so you don't have to go through the stuff that they went through, right? So who is this class for? This is all-encompassing tonight, right? So it's for singer-songwriters, aspiring music executives, A&R. Anybody on the call, anybody want to be an A&R? Just another quick question. Just type, I want to be an A&R. I want to learn about A&R. What about publicity? What about marketing? We know that Janae manages some artists, so we know we have managers on the call. What if you want to be in music? You want to be a music writer. You want to start your own blog in music. So she's covered the gamut tonight, all right? So what do we want from you? What do I want? What does Shanti want? We're going to be on the call tonight for about an hour, maybe an hour, 15 minutes. She's going to give you her heart and soul tonight. Everything that, we prepared, she's going to tell you her story. She's going to give you tips that you can hang up the phone tonight and you can implement in your business, in your life, that will help you in the game, right? So for the next 45 to 60 minutes, I know we have a short attention span, but I want you to pay attention, fill out your notebook, take notes, take pictures of the screen. If Shanti says something that inspires you, take a picture of that and just share it on social media. Put it on Facebook. Tag Shanti, tag myself. And at the very end, we have a special offer, as we do for everybody on this call. Is going to be till midnight tonight, so that you can join the virtual summit. I want to be sure and say that it's virtual because we had someone earlier, just a few minutes ago, sent me an email and said, hey, AJ, what's the address? And I'm like, well, you can come meet me in Shanti, but it's online, right? It is 100% online. And here's the beautiful part of it. You can access the training via your cell phone, your iPad, your notebook. If you're a PC person or if you're a Mac, doesn't matter. You can access it. Unless you have a BlackBerry or a Windows phone, then you kind of need to upgrade. Anyway, all right, so ladies and gentlemen, I mean ladies, I think there are a few guys on here actually though. Kev, looks like Kev Maxwell is on. That's what's up. I'm going to get out of the way, and I want you to, let's see, wait a minute, I have another question here, Shanti, before we get started.
Okay.
Oh, I have questions. The hashtag, okay, the hashtag is hashtag women in music. Hashtag women in music. Carolyn wants to learn about A&R. Kersisha, her dream is to be an A&R. Desiree wants to be an A&R. Taylor wants to be a music executive. Wow. Yeah, tell me what you want to do. Women in Charge 3, Satoya. So we're across the board. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to type clap, type hooray, type woo-hoo, type something in the chat window. We're going to welcome Shanti on with a virtual and a live round of applause. Woo-hoo! Ladies and gentlemen, Shanti Das. Give it up, give it up.
What's up, everybody? It's such a pleasure. And first of all, I just have to thank AJ. I really appreciate you. I've been out sharing my story and my journey, speaking at colleges, doing panels, AC3, South by Southwest. And I really wanted to begin to take advantage of technology and just to be able to share my knowledge and information, because I feel like, particularly being a woman in the industry, it's important to do the give back and to share as much as I can with the women and the men, because this can be a crazy game. And it's just really, really important, you know, again, to share my story and give back. So here we go.
Here we go.
I'm an ATL native, born and raised. I grew up in the SWAT. And I always had a passion for music early on. And I always thought I wanted to be an entrepreneur in some fashion. The funny thing is, I sold greeting cards back when I was in like the 4th grade, and it was some random company my mom hooked me up with. But I would literally go from door to door selling greeting cards, and I got a percentage of that. And I would use that money as, you know, spending money on the weekends. And then fast forward to 8th grade, there was a candy lady right around the corner from the school, and so we would always go to the candy lady. And I'm like, yo, why are we always having to go to this candy lady to get our candy? So I had my uncle take me to the candy wholesale store, and I started selling candy, and I like sold out in the gym like every day. So I had that kind of entrepreneurial bug early on as well. My appreciation for music probably started during like the Sugar Hill Gang days. I know a lot of y'all are young, but if you do your hip hop history, you know, the Sugar Hill Gang, Run DMC, African Bambaataa, all those guys. You know, I was a kid of hip hop. I grew up listening to the radio when it was only AM, and I would throw my cassette in the tape and, you know, tape the whole little DJ set, and I just loved music. I couldn't sing. I was a shower singer, but, you know, I had a very vast knowledge of the industry and appreciation of the artist early on. So I started volunteering at V103, which was a local radio station in Atlanta, Georgia, and they allowed me to kind of shadow and help out. And so that's kind of what really led me to start catching that music industry bug. And then the program director who was at V103 got me my first concert tickets to Anita Baker and Luther Vandross. And the funny thing is, right, like, you know, everybody wants to go backstage and it's all the hype of who's back there. And I wasn't even caught up with seeing Anita or, you know, just really just kind of taking that in to meet her. I was more like interested in who were the artists behind Anita. I mean, who were the representatives, rather, behind Anita and behind Luther. I saw so many movers and shakers back there, and I was like, yo, that's going to be me one day. Like, I want to be back here making the decisions and, you know, making it all happen. So fast forward, I went to Syracuse University. Shout out to all the CUSE folks that's on the phone representing. It was cold as all get up for a young Southern girl coming from the A, but it was a great opportunity and experience for me. When I got accepted into Syracuse, I wanted to be a part of the Newhouse School of Communications, but I didn't initially get accepted into Newhouse. I got accepted into VPA. And that's one thing that you can take a note from is, you know, if at first you don't succeed, it's an oldie but a goodie. Try again. And so I said, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm going to go to Syracuse, and I'm going to work my way into Newhouse. So I'm sure that the process has changed now, but I worked really, really hard my freshman year. I didn't go crazy and wild out when I first got there because, you know, both my mom and I had student loans. So I was like, I can't mess this one up. So anyway, I hustled and I studied my butt off, and I was able to take a test and get into the School of Communications my sophomore year. So that all worked well for me. I started taking radio classes, and so I wanted to make sure I got involved on campus, which was really important. And I suggested if we got any college students on campus, start doing the jobs that you want to do on campus. You know, find those opportunities and maximize them. I worked at Z89, which was a college radio station. I was assistant promotions director. I was an on-air disc jockey. I had an overnight grave shift. I started doing the hip-hop show on Saturday nights. I had what was called Shoestrings Hip-Hop Tips. So I was doing, like, you know, the entertainment segments before they became the big thing 20 years later. I wrote for a campus newsletter. Back then, we didn't have computers. I literally would take out a pad and piece of paper and pen and write to people at record companies and ask them to send me the music for my station. So I started interacting with record company executives while I was at Syracuse. I started going to conventions like Jack the Rapper and, you know, all these other great conventions, and just networking my butt off and really hustling. And I ended up landing a couple internships, and I'll just tell you briefly, so crazy, and I'm sure some of this might have, something like this may have happened to some of you on the phone. I went ahead and applied for an internship with the Arsenio Hall show. Now, again, everybody might not know what Arsenio Hall is, but back then he had a really popular late night television show that all the artists performed on. You know, all the who's who in Hollywood would sit on the couch and be interviewed by him. So I landed an internship with Arsenio Hall show. It was in Los Angeles, California. I was all excited. I was getting ready to pack my bags, and my mom was like, excuse me? She was like, you are not going to LA. And it wasn't a paid internship, but it was a wonderful opportunity for me. And she was like, we don't have family out there. It's going to be tough for you. So long story short, I was devastated. Cried my way through those, you know, first 2 weeks of the summer, and ended up going back to talk to a young lady that I had spoken to prior to the Arsenio Hall show at Capitol Records. And she was going to offer me an internship there, but I turned it down. And so this opportunity was in Atlanta, Georgia. So long story short, you know, I went back and kind of had to, you know, really humble myself and ask her if I could still land that position. And I ended up getting hired, ended up getting, you know, paid. It turned into what I thought was going to be a free internship, turned into a paid internship, and worked for Capitol Records for 2 summers. So, you know, the rest was history. I kind of never looked back. But it's important to, again, if things don't go the way you expect them to, sometimes you just got to find a different way. You got to carve out a different niche for yourself. I was devastated with the Arsenio Hall internship, but I ended up landing something better at Capitol Records. And the guy that, well, the gentleman, Keith Fry, who was my boss at Capitol, he ended up consulting for LaFace Records. And that's how I got my job right out of college. You know, 4 months after graduation, I came back home to Atlanta, and I interned at Sony Music. I was a retail intern, so it gave me an opportunity to go to all the record stores, which really don't exist anymore. But I went to all the record stores and started learning how to take inventory and that sort of thing. So I did that for 4 months. Then the guy at Capitol started consulting for LaFace. LA and Babyface had just moved to Atlanta. And he said, yo, I got a call from, you know, a gentleman I'm working with over at LaFace, and he told me they need a promotions director. Now, the crazy thing is, you know, it was intimidating for me, the term director. I really didn't know what that meant. I was just out of college. But I was like, I'm not going to let my fear stop me. For me, it was faith over fear. I was like, look, I'm a smart young lady. I have a college degree. I will figure this out. So I ended up getting hired as promotions director. Again, didn't have a clue on really what that meant. But they were impressed by my enthusiasm. I was eager and energetic, you know, my willingness to learn and to just be a team player. And so I got hired making $30,000 in 1993. That was a lot of money in 1993. You couldn't tell me anything. I bought my first whip, which was a Mitsubishi Eclipse.
Killing the game.
I moved into this townhouse with one of my homegirls, and I never looked back. And so I really worked my way up in the LaFace system. it was a real honor to hit the road with Toni Braxton. I'll never forget, she was opening up for Frankie Beverly and Maze. That was my first gig. Like, who does that? Like, God is, and I'm saying that in the most humble way. Like, I'm living out my dreams, you know.
Wow.
It was just a wonderful experience for me. And then I started working Outkast record. They came with the song Players Ball, which was actually on the Christmas album. And once they started doing so good, Rico and LA was like, okay, this is the hit. And so they decided to make it the first single off of Outkast's Southern Playalistic album. And I was actually even in one of the videos. Which is crazy. That was my only video appearance.
So first of all, Shanti, we're going to slow this down a little bit because people are asking questions and they, like, you just went through a lot.
And
I think
that's just the first part.
That's just the first. That's not even getting into all the other stuff that you've done. So, again, I think Shanti said a few key lessons. Number one, she was going to figure it out, right? So no matter what you were up against, let's talk about that, perseverance.
Sure. Perseverance is so important. That's one of the 3 Ps that I talk about in my book, The Hip Hop Professional 2.0. You know, things just aren't going to go the way you expect them to, especially in this day and age. I find that a lot of college students that I mentor or some of my friends that have kids that are in college, you know, they're graduating and they find themselves going back to their parents' home, you know, to live because they can't land a job or the opportunities aren't there, especially from an entertainment perspective. Because when I started in the game, it was like triple or quadruple the amount of labels, you know, whether it's an independent label or major labels. And because, you know, music isn't selling like it used to, you know, we're consuming music differently. Some of the young generation, they value music differently, so they'd rather stream it as opposed to purchase it. You know, the business just isn't quite as lucrative as it used to be. Now, having said that, does that mean that there's still money to be made? Absolutely. You just have to kind of navigate through, persevere, and carve a niche out for yourself. You know, it's like driving down a winding road. At some point, you're going to get to a straightaway, right? So you got to bob and weave. You got to deal with the curves. You got to deal with the ups and downs. You're going to be in the peaks. You're going to be in the valley, but you can't allow yourself to stay in the valley. And this is something very personal I'm about to say. My dad committed suicide when I was a baby. And I've suffered from depression for many, many years, but I just started publicly about it over the last few years. And so it's really easy to get distracted in this day and age. You tend to look at social media, right? How many times y'all are going through, you know, your timeline and you're looking at your peers or people you grew up with or former mates and they're doing this, that, and the third. Like, for real, at the end of the day, you got to dead all of that. Cut it out. Stop comparing yourself to other people. You can be proud of them. You can support them. You can like that. You can repost and retweet or whatever and be happy for them and try to make some connections. But, like, don't compare yourself to them, right? Because the road that was laid out for you is not the path that they might have taken. And you can't think that I don't even want you guys to think that you can take my direct path and end up being where I am. I just want you to be able to pull some nuggets from what I did and shape your own story, shape your own road that you're going to travel down. That is just so very important to remember. And so for me, you know, I had to persevere, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on, but now as an entrepreneur, I'm having to persevere. I'm having to humble myself. I'm having to make choices. Life is about choices, you know, whether it's in your career, in your personal life, in your spiritual life. You have to choose to do the right thing. You have to make certain decisions, and because, you know, everything has you know, there's a reason basically to everything that you're doing. And so you just have to really think it out and understand that it may not be as easy as it was for the next person. But if you really want it and you want it bad enough, those that are smart, that invest back into themselves and that understand it's a marathon and not a sprint. You know, I was going to do whatever it took as long as it was morally accepting, you know, in terms of my beliefs and my faith, to get to the top. I did just that. And here I am 25 years in the game, and I'm still doing new things. I got my ATL Live on the Park 7 years in, hottest event in Atlanta. I did R&B Live in New York. I'm an author. I'm releasing books. And I'm giving back. And I'm here, and I'm grateful for the journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Ashley said, preach. Jesus.
I mean, but it's real
April
talk.
said,
I get a little
April
preachy because I'm from the
hey.
A. But hey, April.
Wow.
But that's just who I am. I mean, and, you know, so this journey has not been easy. You know, ladies and gentlemen, like, you know, I worked at LaFace for 7.5 years. And it's funny, you know, something I think we need to talk about is, like, knowing your value. I think that's, you know, coming up in the series. But I just have to say this, when the company was sold in 2000, I had to figure out what was next. You know, Ella and Babyface had made their millions, God bless them, but we had to figure it out because there weren't any other big major labels in Atlanta. So I decided to move to New York City, and I was going to follow L.A. Reid to Arista Records. Well, the crazy thing is you have to realize it's business and it's not personal. But I think I might have taken it a little personal in the beginning. But I learned over time that business is not personal. And so they offered me the same salary that I was making in Atlanta to live in New York City. And I was like, are y'all crazy? Does anybody realize what the cost of living is like in New York? So I had to go and prove my value and my self-worth. And so I ended up going to I ended up having a conversation with one of my good friends. His name is Mark Pitts. He's now like the president of music, I think, at RCA Records, their head of A&R. And Mark went and got me an interview with two other major labels, Elektra Records, with Sylvia Rome was there at the time, and Craig Calman at Atlantic Records, and they were both under the same system. And do y'all know that literally just based off my credentials and the work that I had done at LaFace, they doubled my salary. They offered me twice as much as I was making in Atlanta. And then I had to take that information back to LA, and I was like, look, you know, this is all good, you know, got love for you or whatever and the team, but I got to take care of myself and I got to look out for me. So at that time, of course, it becomes about ego, and LA was like, you can't go work for, you know, my competition. And so they agreed to pay me double of what they offered me. But that just goes to show you guys, like, if you really know your worth and your value, especially when you've been in the game for a minute, you got to go out there and demand what you think you're worth. And sometimes, you know, it might not be your first choice. I mean, sure, I wanted to go to Arista. That was my first choice, but I had to go out and, you know, pound the pavement and really figure it out and make the deal make sense for me. That's just so important. And, you know, I worked my way over to Columbia. I ended up leaving Arista after a year and a half. It just wasn't the right fit and environment for me. So I quit. I really don't like to even have the word quit in my vocabulary. But sometimes I think we have to understand when it's time to walk away. That's just a part of life. Not every opportunity is going to be the right opportunity for you. And some people get into these jobs or positions, you know, whether it's just something in retail that you're just starting out with or it's a real career. You know, I had been in that position for a year and a half. I was getting overlooked for being promoted to vice president, and it was not the right environment. It was a hostile working environment for me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm smart. I'm going to figure this out. And so, you know, I kind of had gotten depressed that year, and I was like, you know, it's not worth it. My family was like, look, we got you. Let's come back home. So I took the summer off. I quit in 2001, went back home, slept on my friend's couch that summer. And then my good friend Jermaine Dupree, he was like, okay, you've had your few weeks to be down and out, but get your butt up and let's figure it out. So his deal at the time, So Def, was distributed through Sony Music, and so he got me an interview at Columbia Records.
Let me jump in here. So how did you and Jermaine Dupree become friends?
So I met Jermaine, gosh, where did we even first meet? I've known him since I was in like the 11th grade. Oh, I know. We met backstage at a Bobby Brown concert. My good friend Mo Ivory, who is a force to be reckoned with as well. I'm so proud of her. She's a DJ on WHUR and a political correspondent on CNN. She introduced Jermaine and I, and we were both kids. We're close to the same age, and we ended up hanging out. And I'll never forget going over Jermaine's house, and he literally had 2 turntables in his room. He didn't even have like a mattress or anything. I was like, okay, this kid is going somewhere. And I used to take Crisscross to the studio, and you know, we just, you know, built up a friendship from there. And I saw his grind and how passionate he was about getting in the music industry and winning. But I never asked him for anything at the beginning of my career because I wanted to make it on my own. You know, I wanted to show that I could do this. And so, you know, to this day, he tells me how proud of me he was once things started popping off at LaFace. But a lot of my inspiration came from watching his grind and hustle. So he set up the interview, and I did the rest. He got me an interview with the chairman of the company. It was just the 2 of us, Donnie and I, in the meeting, and he hired me on the spot as vice president of urban marketing. So I stayed at Columbia for about 4.5 years, and then I ended up moving over to Universal Motown as executive vice president of marketing under Sylvia Rome. I mean, it really was a storybook career, but not without a lot of BS and hurdles a lot of hard work, a lot of sleepless nights, living out of a suitcase for about 18 years. And now here I am as an author. You guys can see my books on the screen. I've released 3 books to date. The main book is The Hip Hop Professional, which is my memoir about my career, going from intern to executive vice president to entrepreneur. Then I decided to release these pocket guides because I feel like with the younger generation, you have to get to the point quick, right? It's about quick hits and quick nuggets of wisdom. And so the 1, 2, 3s of networking and the 1, 2, 3s of entrepreneurship is just a guide of 30 tips. And I just talk about in the networking book, about diversifying your network, not being afraid to get out there and network. How, follow through is key. Something that I do on Fridays. I call it follow-up Fridays. And so if I've gone to some events during the week, I make sure I go back and I look at those emails, or I make notes of who I've met and I send them an email, or I write them a handwritten note. Handwritten notes are a lost art form, but people like myself, if you're looking at somebody like, in their late 30s, 40s, or 50s, that's like, a leader within the company, a handwritten note goes a long way. So like, think of things that are out of the box, to network, and be willing to share other contacts. So I talk about all of that in my networking book. And then the entrepreneurship book is the same thing, just motivational tips on, getting that business started. I have a quote from Will Packer, Steve Stout, Damon John from Shark Tank, Mona Scott Young. And the blessing is, I created this wonderful Rolodex over the last 25 years, and now I'm just kind of going back and getting some of my peers that are successful to share their information as well. And it's just been an amazing experience to put out my own book. So now, hence you have the 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3, the 1, 2, 3, the self journey has been like. And all of these books can be bought on my website, which is pressresetent.com, and the self-publishing book is just up now for pre-sale. But God is good, and I'm hungry. I feel like I quit. I walked away from, full transparency, like $500,000 check a year, corner office, all of that, to kind of start over basically and start my own company. My mom has Alzheimer's. I only got one mom. I didn't want to be far from her anymore. I had some health issues. I was depressed being in New York. I had this wonderful career, but that just wasn't the end-all be-all for me. And so here I am now with Press Reset Entertainment, working with different brands and companies. I'm working with Vivian Green now, Demetri McKinney. I've done work with Johnny Gill and Kelly Price, and that's all wonderful. But the most important thing is me being able to be a thought leader, inspiring the professional development of young adults. And so that's why I take so much pride in being an author and sharing my knowledge and experience, because I think it's the right thing to do.
So next we're going to talk about different things that Shanti learned in the game. And she, again, during the interview, when I interviewed her, I was blown away by some of the tips that she had to offer. So go ahead, Shanti.
So I think the first thing, AJ, that's important for anybody to remember, y'all can write this down, and it's actually on your screen, it's okay to take a step backwards and do something different. And sometimes it's not even a step backwards, it's just doing something different. That's why for me, it wasn't like a hard decision when I walked away, but from Arista, because I knew that I was kind of really at the point of being able to be vice president, but I was like, you know what, this isn't working for me. And so I was tired of getting yelled at. And this had nothing to do with L.A. Reid, because L.A. was the president of the company, so I wasn't interacting with him at that time a lot. So I don't want anyone to confuse the reason of me leaving Arista Records was because of L.A., because, it wasn't him at all, and we still have a great relationship to this day. But my direct report at the time was just, he wasn't that guy. He was condescending. He was a yeller, and he wasn't a good teacher. And I felt like he was only looking out for his people in the company. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to figure this out. And so that's why I left and went back home. So don't be afraid sometimes if you have to make hard decisions, if you feel like you've been working at something, and you just need to really decide if you need to go left or if you need to go. But make sure you take a hard look at what your situation is and not be afraid to do what you need to do. The second thing is not to burn bridges, because you never know who you're going to either have to ask for a job or an opportunity. the funny thing is, the game has changed so much, and it's almost like musical chairs. Every 5 minutes somebody is switching to a different label, or now they're working for somewhere like Google or Vivo. You got a lot of music industry people working at, music and tech companies now. So if I ever had an issue with one of my peers back in the day, I just tried to take the high road, and I tried to work things out from a business standpoint. I tried not to take things personal, because I find myself dealing with people now that I hadn't talked to in like 10 years. But I made sure that I always carried myself with a certain level of respect, and I was respectful, to my peers. And if there was a conflict that we had, that I handled it, like an adult. I would pull the person to the side if it was a male or female, and I would talk to them. And, not everybody always sees eye to eye or is going to agree with you. And you can agree to disagree, but it's a way to handle things. I see, a lot of people now, especially a lot of young people, they feel like if there's some sort of conflict or disagreement,
grievance or beef
or whatever, you go on rants, or you might say something about them that you can't really take back, and you don't know who's going to be running that company you want to work for in 5 years. Or guess what? You ever gone into a company and the assistant was there? People don't understand this, y'all. Get to know the assistant, because 9 times out of 10, like, people that were assistants 10 years ago are now in executive positions, at some of these companies. And so I always treated assistants, one, because it's the right thing to do, but I was always kind and pleasant, and I tried to look out for the assistants, because you need to get next to the man or the woman, and everybody got somebody looking out for them and keeping their schedule and, keeping them on track. So it's really important not to burn bridges and to make sure that you get to know the person next to the person. The last thing is, if you want to work in entertainment, you can't get starstruck. Don't get me wrong, there were a couple of artists that I worked with where, excuse me, I had to pinch myself. First time I worked with Prince was in 2004. And by then I was already well into my career. I was a senior vice president. And so I kind of knew how to carry myself and handle myself. But I'm not going to lie, the first time my boss called me to his office and Prince was there, I just kind of stood there and froze. It was crazy. But everybody else, I just treat them like regular people. Like, he was like, "You want to come in?" I was like, "Oh, you asking me to come in?" Okay, that. Yeah, he did. I was just standing there at the door, and he was like, "Are you going to come in?" So anyway, that was funny. But yeah, like I saw a lot of people that would get starstruck, or they would start working with the artists, and they wanted to hang out with them. They wanted to be BFFs with them and hang out with them, and that was the one thing that I did not do. I was cool with them. We could kick it. We could hang out, with our team and our staff. But it was a line that I had to draw in the sand so they would know, like, look, I'm here to work your project and to help build your brand and your career, but I'm not here to be your best friend. That happened to me one time, and I got burned. And after that, I learned my lesson. So I'm telling y'all now, it's easy to get caught up, and they invite you to their house, and you're hanging out. And then I found myself spending more money and shopping when they're shopping, and I'm like, who, excuse my language, the hell am I trying to keep up with? I'm not the one on the red carpet. And why am I spending all this money when I'm hanging out with my artist, who now I'm acting like is my homegirl, but I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses, and I can't do that. And so I had to make sure that she respected me as a staff member and someone that was on the team, and not like her girl. And I think in the long run, the guys and the girls that I worked with respected me a lot more professional. And I wasn't trying to be their best friend, but what I was trying to do is to, raise their profile and their celebrity, and it worked. So I just think that's really important, especially nowadays when everything is on 2000. You got TMZ, you got the reality shows, everybody's snapping pictures every 5 minutes, and everybody wants to be their own celebrity on Snapchat and Instagram and Periscope and whatever else. Like, you got to keep it in perspective, y'all. Like, I'm not saying don't enjoy it, and we all like to turn up and have a good time, myself included, but keep it all in perspective and handle your business. And people will respect you more from being dope at what you do than for being dope at who you hang out with.
Got it. So let's do this. Instead of me asking you questions, guys, if you still remember how to raise your hand, go ahead and raise your hand. I have a ton of questions in the chat window, but I promise that I want this to be fully interactive, okay? So go ahead and raise your hands now, and I want to let you ask Shanti a question. Now, when I unmute your microphone, I want you to hit the little microphone button. If it has a line through it, you need to hit the button so that it unmutes your mic as well. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question. Let's see, any, mini, miny, mo. We're going to go with Nina Bell. Looks like her hand was up. Nina, did you take?
Yeah, my hand was up.
Hey, Nina.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, Shanti.
Hi, Shanti. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
It's going good. Going good.
My question is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Where are you calling in from?
Oh, I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Midtown.
What's your question?
My question is.
I am an entrepreneur.
Okay.
In entertainment.
Okay.
I do a lot of film. But I'm wanting to. I'm sorry.
What do you do specifically in film?
I'm starting to manage actors, models.
Okay.
Things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is,
is it a good idea
if I'm looking to managing music artists as well, merging those two arenas together, or is that something that's separate?
Well, you know what? What I would say to you is it depends on where your area of expertise lies. How long have you been doing this?
Oh my gosh.
Long time?
Yeah, long time.
Do you feel like your relationships are stronger in film or music?
I know people in both. But
Okay, so what I would suggest to you is I don't think it's necessarily something where you have to do one or the other, because I've seen people either manage or, do PR for actors as well as entertainers on the music side. But what I would say to you is, while you have your clientele built up on the film side, maybe focus on one music artist instead of trying to take on too many, and really build up your contacts on the music side and try to have some significant wins with that artist. Because if you have some wins in terms of, I don't know if you're booking them for opportunities or performances or brand opportunities, but you need to kind of show and prove that you can really make some significant leaps and bounds for your music artists and really help them, saturate themselves in the marketplace. And then that way you kind of have a story to tell. Even when you're pitching other artists, you can say, look, this is what I've done for this artist or for this client. But I wouldn't suggest taking on too many at once, so you can really immerse yourself in the music culture and learn that side. Because music, again, it changes so much from day to day now, especially because of technology. Even when I started in the game, and I find myself constantly reading stories and making sure I'm on Billboard and making sure I'm even staying connected on the street with the ball alerts and the box ups, and see what's going on the racket side and see what's going on the intellectual side, and know what's going on with the Grammys and the recording academies. You need to be well versed if you're going to represent a music client, and really if you want to be able to handle artists that are well established as well, because you've got to have those relationships.
Okay.
All right.
So take your time. That's all I'm saying. Take your time. And I always tell people you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So you've mastered the film side, right? You know what you can do for your film clients. Let's take time to master the music side, and don't inundate yourself with too many clients so that you're trying to bob and weave and get this opportunity, but you're not able to really put together a full plan and see that artist, from A to Z, if that makes sense.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Hey, Nina, before you go, what is your Instagram handle? People are asking for your Instagram.
My Instagram handle is Nina LS Bell.
All right.
And Nina, feel free to tweet me, or if you have other questions, you can email me and go to my website, thehiphopprofessional.com, and sign up. I'd be more than happy to. Because, again, with me, when I do these kind of webinars, I've had people that attend seminars, and they'll email me afterwards and ask questions. I might not be able to be a full mentor, but there's communication after, we have direct contact on these webinars or panels and stuff. So I wish you the best of luck and want to help you, see it through.
Thank you so much.
And I'll definitely
send an email.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Nina. All right, guys, I think you heard it here first. Shanti has said that she would mentor every single one of you. one-on-one.
Emails here and there. I can't do it full time, but I definitely want to see everybody win. If you're serious about your craft.
Got to be serious. One more question. Let's see. Any, mini, money, mo. This is. Let's go to Guy. Antoine Murray. Looks like your hand is up. So I'm going to unmute your microphone. Hey, Antoine Murray, are you there?
I am, yeah.
Good night, guys.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Good, thank you.
My question is, what would be the best advice for someone who's pursuing a label?
Can you say that again?
Sure. My question is, what would be your best advice for someone who's pursuing a role to become a president?
A president of a label?
Yes.
Can I ask you, is this you, and have you worked at a label?
I work for a label now.
I work for Universal.
Okay. One thing I can tell you in this day and age, I don't know what your position is there right now, but one thing that trumps all is being able to directly affect the bottom line at a label. I've seen it happen. I've seen A&R guys go from being just an A&R rep to being vice president, to being general manager, to even having their own situation, at some point. So what you got to do is, if you're a music guy, and I don't know if you do A&R, but for anybody on the A&R track, bring in some hot artists. Everything happens now online. Labels want to see what the artist is doing on their SoundCloud. Are they performing locally? What they're doing on Snapchat, how many followers they have, how many YouTube views they have. And so at the end of the day, if you want to win, bring an artist to the table that's winning, that's going to make a lot of money for the label. If you're an executive that's like maybe on the marketing side, or, you do publicity, the same thing. You just got to be 2 steps ahead of the competition that's out there. I wouldn't advise you to, excuse my language, kiss ass. I've seen people try to go that route of, trying to hang out with the president that's there now, or get in good with the boss. And yeah, you want to create those relationships and have that wonderful rapport, but let it be about your business. Let your work speak for itself. And the best way, I'm telling you, you can work your way up in the company is bring an artist in there that's going to blow up. And you see that project from beginning to end. Like, I was able to really make a lot of movement, if you will, in LaFace Records because of the work that I did with Outkast. The proof was in the pudding. I mean, when we started to work Outkast, it's no secret, and L.A. Reid, just brought his new book out. There was Usher, there was TLC, there was Tony Braxton. It was crowded. There was a lot of cars on the road. And so I had to figure out how to drive this Outkast car through traffic at the label. And I busted my butt and ended up, taking those guys in the marketplace. And that gave me a lot more power. Obviously, it led to promotions. It gave me the credibility. So, especially in this day and age, bring a couple hot groups to the label, That's how you're going to be noticed. And then, of course, everything goes along with it. If you want to be a leader, you have to be able to lead. You have to be responsible. You have to be accountable. Not being leaders who, when things happen in the company, they want to, place the blame on everybody else. No, if it's your staff, you got to stand up and take that L. Nobody wants to take an L, but a leader has to learn how to take an L for the team. And then what you then do after that is you figure out, how you're going to fix that problem. But don't go pointing the finger if you're trying to be a leader. That's the worst thing. It's one of the, I'm getting ready to come out with the 1, 2, 3s of leadership. That's one of the tips in my book. Leaders got to step up and take responsibility for the good and the bad.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Antoine, I don't know, did I ask your Instagram and your Twitter?
I have Instagram. Would you like me to type in?
Yeah, go ahead and type it in and I'll paste it to everybody.
All right.
We want everybody to go and follow Antoine as well. I'm going to type it in the chat window in just a minute. Thank you so much, Antoine. Shanti, we're going to pause the questions and let you.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to get back into the training. And we're on the slide that talks about the lessons that I've learned in the music industry. Again, I'm celebrating my 25th year this year. God is good in the entertainment industry. So my first lesson I think I've learned that's been important for me, especially being a female, is having thick skin. I've been in situations, growing up a girl in hip-hop and working in the game, things are sometimes unethical in the music industry. You know, it's a lot of yelling and cursing in the meetings and craziness. And so at first I was like in these meetings and I was like shook. I was like not used to being, you know, confrontational or having to, you know, go toe to toe or head to head. And, you know, all right, I'll admit it. I was a little weak back in the day. My brother he was 6 years older than me, and, you know, he would yell at me and I would cry. You know, so I was a crier growing up. But that shit had to leave the minute I stepped in the game. I remember one time I cried either in front of my boss or in a meeting, and I felt like Charlie Brown. I wanted to go stick my head in the sand somewhere. It was so embarrassing. It showed that I was weak, and it just wasn't a good look for me. And so after that, I was like, okay, that won't happen again. So ladies, guys, whoever you are, have thick skin. It is so very important. And that goes for, I think, for any industry, right? Because sometimes people look at women and they look at us as emotional beings as it is. And so you don't want to wear your emotions on your sleeve. You got to have thick skin if you want to play with the big boys. The second thing I would say is, you know, being confident and knowing your self-value and your self-worth. You know, it's just so important. I had a quote that I put up on Instagram today, and, you know, it talks about, you know, knowing, you know, who you are and knowing your value. And if you don't know what your value is, you know, how is anybody else going to know? You know, that's just so important, right? So if you're going out there and you're you know, interviewing for these jobs or trying to, you know, even become a manager of this particular artist, like, you got to go in there like you know your stuff and you're confident. And sometimes we all have to fake the funk. You know, I can remember being in some of these meetings and I might not know the answer, and I might have started the process, but I didn't have the full answer that my boss wanted, but I had to play the politics and I had to learn how to tap dance around it. But I never let them see my weak side. You know, the quote that I posted earlier, I just found it. It says, your life will never go higher than the opinion you have of yourself. And I got that from listening to something online from Mount Parent Church. And that is just so very important. If you don't think you're the shit, and I say this in a confident way, not in a egotistical way, because there's a fine line there too. I've seen some egotistical assholes in the game, and they're not a pleasure to work with. They might end up being successful, but nobody wants to be around them. I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to be the confident person that knew my shit, but I was still cool and could kick it with everybody. So yes, I'm very confident in what I do, and I believe in myself. I believe in me, because if I don't believe in Shanti, how am I going to get the next person to believe in me? And that was one of the things that when I first met L.A. Reid, he was like, yo, you're like this little short kid with a ball of energy. And you know, you just always come in here like ready to work and knowing that you can make it happen. And you got to have that same attitude. There's certain things, certain fundamental ways of being in business, you know, with other people and setting that pace for yourself. So make sure your confidence is on 100, but your confidence should not equate to cockiness. The next thing is, you know, ladies, you got to be able to know how to navigate, and this is definitely for the ladies, the BS. You know, most of you guys, you know, beautiful young ladies, charming and witty, and I'm not saying you can't use that charm when you need to, but I don't believe in having to use your sexuality, you know, to make a statement all the time or to get your foot in the door. Like, for me, it was about the work that I put in. And so, you know, there were uncomfortable situations that I was put in on several occasions, and I'm sure you guys have either gone through it or you have to go through it. And I'll say this to you, ladies. I'm not telling you you can't date somebody in the music industry. I never dated my artists because that's just a road I did not want to go down. It's way too messy. But if there's somebody in the industry that you become smitten with and you like them, date them because you like them. Take the business outside of it. Take your company outside of it. Make sure there's something in it personally for you. Don't do it because you're trying to get that promotion. You're trying to get your foot in the door, because that's going to end up being a bad situation for you. And the one thing about entertainment is that the turnover can be crazy. So, like, what if you sleep with dude to try to get the job and he's fired in 2 months? Then what?
Everybody knows.
And then everybody, not only does everybody know, they bring in a new regime or a new president. What you gonna do? Sleep with him too to keep your spot? Like, no. You want to be known for the work you put in, and you know, if you want to get married and have a family, do all that. Be who you want to be, but do it on your own terms, and don't do it for something in return. Don't use your sexuality as your entree into the business. Like, it's just not fly. And women do it every day, and some of y'all might not take my advice, and that's cool. But you might look back 10 years down the line and be like, damn, Shanti told me. And look, I'm not holier than thou. I'm not judgmental, because the only person that can judge you is one person up top. And I don't know what your spiritual beliefs are, but if you believe in a higher being, that person's got to judge you. I cannot. All I can do is share with you steps that made it a little bit easier for me. And when those situations did happen, or if they ever occurred, I nipped it in the bud. I did not let it linger on. I did not let them, and there's a fine line of being a bitch or being too weak or not being bitchy enough. I hate to say it, but, that's how sometimes people equate women in the industry. So if you deal with the situation, you got to be able to stand your ground and back it up. I had a gentleman that I worked with over my 25 years, and, he made an advance at me, but then tried to deny it. Thought I was going to go to HR. I didn't go to HR, but I did go to his office immediately when it happened, and I nipped it in the bud. But after that, he was trying to blackball me. He wasn't trying to give me a promotion. But at the end of the day, my work, spoke for itself. I had a great relationship, with the head of the company, and they knew that I wasn't about that. So at the end of the day, because I was respectful, I was a hard worker, all of that ended up obviously playing out well for me. So when you get in those tough situations, let your work speak for itself.
All right, before we go forward, I have a couple comments. Let's see. This is April Maddox. She says, as a woman in the game for years myself, I'm very familiar with Shanti by name. She is truly a woman of work worthy of imitation. Go, girl.
Thank you.
Then we have a question. And this question it's kind of the opposite of one of the questions you just answered.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back down to it now that I'll scroll away.
Okay.
She says, what are some of the benefits of being a woman in the predominantly male-driven music industry?
That's a great question, and I never really get that a lot. I think one of the benefits is, like, for me, and I'm just like this little short chick, so everybody looked at me as like their little sister. So there weren't a lot of, meetings I didn't get invited to, because I was just cool as hell with everybody. I became like everybody's little sister. So it was just, I think, me being a nurturer, me being compassionate. Sometimes those are traits, I think, that are more female-leaning sometimes. And so I was just cool with everybody. And if I saw somebody was having a bad day, I just talked to them regularly, because a lot of people, sometimes they're great workers, but they don't have like that personal connection. So I knew how to have a personal friendship with these people, as well as still, make sure that I was about my business. I knew where to draw the line. I would just kind of go on the personal side just enough so that we were cool, we were cordial, we could go to lunch together, we could laugh, we could hang out, we could talk about each other's family and kids. But then at the same time, I could give you direction, or we could work together and build this project. So there's a fine balance there. And I think there are things that we've learned just kind of, just inherently as women, a lot of those traits. And you can utilize those, in the workplace. Sometimes women, they use their charisma, that pretty smile, and they can get that foot in the door. There's a fine line there, too, between using your charisma and it just being overly sexual. And so I think sometimes, at the end of the day, guys like to deal with a nice, friendly face. So you can use that. Hey, and use that personality, use that Southern charm and flavor, but don't use it to a point where it gets misconstrued. You know what I mean? So they think there's like that you're making advancements to them.
Right.
No, I'm just being a kind Southern girl, throwing on my Southern charm. And I think you see a lot of women in business just do that, just in general. But I don't see any other just like clear benefits of being a woman. There are a lot of things that I couldn't do, because I couldn't go play golf with all the guys, and I ain't necessarily wanted to go to the strip clubs. I would have to go to the strip clubs when I was promoting the Outcast, but I wasn't going to sit there and watch, my male counterparts get lap dances. That just really wasn't my thing. Although a lot of girls go to the strip clubs now to meet guys. I know it's a different day and age from when I was coming up, but there were certain things you could and couldn't do as a woman. The main thing I can say, though, is woman or man, just let your work speak for itself. Like, I didn't want to be looked at just a great female executive. I wanted to be looked at as a great executive. and that I can stand in the room with the L.A. Reids and Donnie Einers of the world, as well as Sylvia Rhone. It is important for women to feel proud and break barriers and break these glass ceilings, but at some point, you just want to be a great executive, period. So I hope I was able to answer some of her questions. Tell her to give me a hand clap.
That was, let's see, what was that? We have so many more questions. I'll tell you what, we're going at like lightning speed. So let me.
I know it's a lot to cover.
Yeah, let me take a few more questions.
Sure.
So this question comes from Faith Barrow Hunt. Let's see if we can let you ask the question. Yeah, Faith, her hand is still up, and she's talking about she used to intern with Kevin Liles and Leo Cohen.
Leo Cohen. Yep. Kevin Liles was actually one of my mentors. Is one of my mentors.
Okay. So. Faith,
Hello.
Hello. Are you there?
Hi.
Is it Faith? Hello.
Hello.
Is this Faith?
Yes, this is her.
How are you? What's your question?
Hi. Thank you for having this webinar. It's really important that we a lot of times we don't have like this. But my question was this past summer, I used to intern at entertainment with
Okay.
It's a fairly new company. I'm not really sure if they're offering.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
It's a fairly new company. I'm not sure if it's offering permanent position.
And as an intern,
you're
it's like, how do I
decide whether
if I should
risk it all
or if I should where I can
have a job
because eventually I'm
going to have to have money.
Got it. So let me repeat the question back, so that everybody can hear it. I know we have some feedback there. So her question is, she's doing an internship and it's unpaid.
Okay.
She wants to know, how can she figure out whether they're trying to bring on new employees, because she wants to do it, but she's going to need money pretty soon. So
how long have you been interning there?
I interned there this summer.
Just this past summer?
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked to any people that were your direct reports and talked to them about you wanting to work at the company? And if you have, what was the vibe like? Did they seem open to it? Were they trying to find some spots for you?
Well, I've been keeping in contact with Kevin Liles because take what he says into consideration. And throughout the interview, you get a sponsor who is in charge of giving you work to do while you're there. I'm actually going back there Friday. And I created like a thank you card for everyone to be off for the past summer. And will come back. But I'm still not sure if I should get a summer job or risk it all and just
This is what I think you should do. So you graduate in May?
Yes, and you actually
came,
which is so great.
Oh, thank you. So this is what I would suggest to you because, one, you got to live, right? I mean, it's one thing to want to follow your goals and dreams and do everything you need to, but at the same time, if you need a job to either pay for your own rent or help out at the house, you have to be smart about that. So since you're about to graduate, what I would suggest you doing is try to get, if there's no clear opportunity for you with this company upon graduation, then I would sit down with either Kevin or whatever higher up, there that you reported to in the company and say, look, I got to have this side job because I got to make a living right now, but I want to work with this company more than anything. I'm willing to shadow you guys or volunteer and work, because a lot of times they'll have listening parties at studios or album release parties or different events. So any kind of events that happen in the evening, like say for example, if you get a job, say during the day or a couple times a week, and still be a part of that company to show that you're willing to help and be willing to work with them. And if you can't do that, then you just got to stay top of mind. You got to email them once a month or show up at their events and, you know, try to go that route. Or what you can try to do is, I've seen some people in the past, they go and work for temp agencies, and they find out what temp agency that company uses, so that if an assistant is out into a certain department one day, that they will call you to temp. So I can't tell you exactly what you need to do because I don't know what your financial situation is, but if you need to take a regular job, take that job, stack that money on the side, but still talk to Kevin and somebody there and allow them to have you volunteer or still be a part of the team on the side. And that'll show that, you know, you're still willing to work for free, but they know that you know, obviously have a job or a career in mind, but don't just continue to work for free and wait till a job opens up, because that may never happen. If you can afford to do that and you're staying with your mom and you don't have to worry about rent and you got extra spending money on the side and money's not an issue, then yeah, maybe intern there another year. But most companies, if you're not still in college and you can't get company credit, they won't allow you to intern full-time after you graduate anyway, unless you're going to graduate school. So you've got to kind of figure out, you know, which lane and idea makes sense for you. But there are definitely ways to do it and to stay top of mind with them. And I can share some other stuff with you offline. You can email me. But for now, that's what you need to do. You need to figure out getting a job if you need one, and then making sure you can volunteer with them just to stay top of mind and to be in their face.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Where would I be able to?
Yeah.
We'll give out that information right at the end of the webinar.
All right, thank you so much, Faith. I'm going to mute you. We're going to take another question. Let's see. All right, so this question, I'm going to take it live. So go ahead and raise your hand again. I put all the questions, all the hands down. So Latoya Lockett. Looks like we may be able to do Latoya Lockett. Let's see. Looks like her microphone is muted. Latoya, if you are there, unmute your microphone on your side, and we will take your question now. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go to someone else. We got to get LaJanae. We did Faith. Here we go. Allie Rock. Allie Rock. Hey, Allie Rock, are you there? I've unmuted her. So I'll tell you what, I'll just read the next question.
Okay.
What is the best way to build social media for an artist? Oh, she said her mic is not working. Okay. Social media, I think that's another kind of course on building social media.
Well, what was the question?
How to build a social media for an artist.
Are we live? Are we on now?
Oh yeah, you can go. I'm just asking.
So I think one of the best things to do, I don't know if your artist is your artist a singer or a rapper?
Jayla, is your artist a singer or a rapper? And go ahead and type it in the chat window. Or let's see if I can.
Or just type the response in, Jayla.
It says she is not at her screen. Okay, so she's not at her screen. So I'll tell you what, let's go to a question that this is from Alex. She said her mic's not working. She said, how can she raise her profile as a songwriter?
Great question. Are you a member of ASCAP, BMI, or CFAC? And just type in your answer.
Ali or Ali?
Are you there?
CSAC, SCA.
Okay, great. So that's one of the first things that's important, is to make sure that you get with your performance rights company, because they have like writer boot camps. They have a lot of opportunities for singers and songwriters. So that's the first thing that you should do. The other thing is, if you have a song that's already been placed, then you might want to get one of your friends who kind of just started in the publicity game or won't charge you an arm and a leg to try to build a story kind of and a profile for yourself. Another thing that's really good is I would start blogging about it. You'd be surprised how many other creative people are out there, and if you have compelling information to share, posting up a blog once a week with helpful information for singers and songwriters, attending different events, whether it's like Billboard conferences or the Revolt Music Conference. You got to get out there and shop yourself just like artists shop themselves. Another thing to do is to get with some like-minded producers, because you can't have a writer without a producer, right? So, try to, and I don't know what city you live in. That's important too. Can you tell me what city you live in? Did she say what city she lives in?
She's in Atlanta.
Okay, so great. So that means that Greg Smith is your rep over at CSAC. So you should make sure they're putting you with other good writers and producers, and really just try to start getting your music out there more. I don't know if you have any of your songs up on SoundCloud, and I know a lot of times people are afraid to put some of the new material out there for fear of somebody trying to steal your ideas, but it's just, you've got to get out there and be visible and keep attending these events and trying to hook up with these artists. And I would identify a few artists that you really want to work with and try to start building relationships with their camp and with their stable of people. The good thing about being in a market like Atlanta, there's always some kind of showcase going on or an event, and you've got to just get out there and network and really try to focus on landing that one song with a good artist, even if it's an artist on the come up. Don't try to necessarily set your sights on established artists. I would see who has a buzz in the marketplace and pitch them songs, because artists are releasing music now more than ever. Back in the day, you'd have to wait for an artist to put their album out, but now people are dropping mixtapes or they're releasing EPs, so content is constantly being put out into the marketplace. So you've got to, again, get with some good artists and just network.
I just had an idea. Everybody's asking, they want to put their songs in here and they want to put their SoundCloud. Let's do this. Let's publish a directory. I'll do it.
Okay.
So if everybody on the call, this is for the people who do the summit. So if you do the summit on March 12th, we will publish a directory of every person on this call, your website, your artist, what it is that you do, so that we have a tender promise of people, whether it's artists or managers or whatever. And you just never know. You guys can actually network together.
And I'll say this, I do an event in Atlanta called ATL Live in the Park. It's usually the second Tuesday of the month. It starts in April and we go through November. I've had everybody from Miguel. I even had Andra Day. I just saw her 2 weeks ago in LA, and I was like, girl, do you remember when you did my showcase? Now you're doing stuff at the White House and Jimmy Kimmel Live and everything, and so I'm so proud of her. But I say all that to say it's a great platform for R&B artists to showcase their talent, and we do hip-hop once a year. I cannot promise that I'll put your artist on there, but if you do the summit on the 12th, I'll take a serious look at your material. And also, and I want to say this publicly, a year and a half ago, I tried to launch my own scholarship, which was, I was going to give away a couple $1,000s to a college student to write essays, but I lost my funding. And so now, a portion of my proceeds from this webinar on the 12th will finally go to launching my scholarship. So I'm continuously trying to help shape the culture and this next generation of leaders, thought leaders in music, musicians, executives, and so forth. And so I'll definitely be willing to do that. And if you have a great artist, I'll definitely give them a shot on ATL Live.
Let's go. All right. So again, for those who go ahead and join the summit on the 12th, we're going to publish almost a roster so that you guys can, number one, network together. And then if you are here in Atlanta, Shanti has her event, and you come to the event, maybe you get a chance to shake her hand and introduce yourself to her personally, and you just never know how it goes as it relates to networking. So I'll let Shanti get to her quote, because we talked about this a little bit before. And thank you guys so much for your participation. We'll take another question here in just a minute, but I'll let Shanti go ahead.
Okay, so my quote that you definitely is one to live by is, if you really want to see your dreams come to fruition, you got to invest the time and the money. I mean, it has been like this since the beginning of time. People who want to be doctors, they have to go on and go to med school. It's a lot of money that they put into it. They're like in debt up to their ears of $100,000 or more. But if they want to be a doctor, it's what they got to do. You want to work in the entertainment industry, you have to, go to these conventions. You know, I went to the Revolt Music Conference. I'm already there, right? I'm successful. I can pick up the phone and call L.A. Reid. I can pick up the phone and call Usher. I can pick up the phone and call Akon, all these great artists. Timberland, I text him. He'll text me back. Wonderful producer. But it's because I'm still investing time and money into my craft. Out of sight, out of mind in this game, right? I don't have money to just be traveling all around the world everywhere I want to go because I'm investing back into myself. These little books that I put out, I'm self-publishing them, right? So the money that I'm making from my speaking engagements, I'm reinvesting back into my craft. I went to a 4-day program on music leaders that Harvard Business School did. You know, that cost $7,000, but you got to reinvest. I have to stay on top of what's going on. You know, I have to be in the know. And so it's just really important to continue honing in your craft, doing continuing education, and just trying to stay 3 steps ahead of the game. The one thing I can tell you guys, anybody looking to work with artists or being a part of this industry in the future, it's all about technology, right? So I'm so excited that I'm speaking, I'm actually interviewing and doing a conversation with Killer Mike at South by Southwest, which is really going to be interesting at the Choose ATL house. But the important thing is I'm going to be there during Tech Week. Everything that you're doing from a music perspective, it's all about technology. Starting a blog, maybe coming up with that creative app. You know, what's going to make, you guys got to be forward thinkers and stay at the forefront of technology, right? So invest time in learning about technology. You know, find some webinars online that you can attend or go to, or conventions you can go to live. Because I'm guaranteeing you the people that are 10 steps ahead on the technology side will make the most money and be more successful in entertainment. Because you find companies like Google doing music. You know, TuneCore now is hiring music executives to sign artists. Like, everything is technology based. So if y'all want to win, invest in technology and understanding technology and make it a part of what you're doing, right? It's social media, it's the digital platform, it's applications. You know, you have to be forward thinkers and you have to invest time and money in yourself. Nobody's going to want your dream more than you, right? For me to be an author or to speak at these colleges on my college chat room tour, you know, I can't just send a silly little email to the president of a university saying, oh, book me because I'm Shanti Das and I got 25 years in the game. I had to go and get a professional deck made. That's several $100s. Every time I get ready to do and update my bio, you know, I have to really go and make sure that everything I'm sending out is professional and that it's something that I want, you know, that I can be proud of and that it's really representative of the person that I am. So you got to invest in yourself, whether it's in your presentation, it's in your resume, it's, you know, the thank you cards of the young lady that want to work for Kev. You got to think out of the box and do different things and figure out ways. You might, you know, have to buy something and send it to a company, send them a whole box of Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme donuts on a Friday. That's investing time and money into your brand and into yourself. You know, sometimes little things go a long way in this game, so that's just so important. I want to ask you guys a question. And then I'm going to give you my answer. How do you guys think you can stand out in the marketplace? Because it's fewer labels out there. Everybody's a publicist now, and I say that in the most humble way too, but everybody either wants to be a publicist or is already a publicist. So how do you get that artist to want to, you know, have you come on board and represent them? You know, how do you get them as a client? It's interesting because especially being in Atlanta, you know, sometimes you figure, okay, do I want to be a big fish in a little pond, or do I want to be a small fish in a big pond? You know, so it's like, do I want to come somewhere like Atlanta where everybody's jockeying, you know, crabs in a barrel trying to find a job, or do I want to stay in like a Charlotte, North Carolina, and be like the hot publicist for for artists in that area, or for actors or films that are being represented in that area? So you got to ask yourself that question, like, what's going to make you stand out in the marketplace? I just want to hear from a couple of you guys.
All right, guys. So here's what we're going to do. Go ahead and put your hands in the air, and I will unmute some of your microphones. When you come on, your name, where you're calling in from, what it is that you do, and how you think you can stand out in the marketplace. And Shanti's going to give you her answer in just a minute. All right? So go ahead and raise your hand if you have an answer. Let's see who we have. Journey Walker. Journey, are you there? Hey, Journey. I see your microphone is unmuted. Okay, well, oh, your mic is muted on your side. Can you unmute your microphone? Okay, we're going to go on to the next person. Chrisisha, I think Chrisisha Conley.
Yes, you actually
Hey.
Yes, Chrisisha. I also go by Chrissy as well.
Oh, hey, Chrissy.
Hi. My name is Chrissy. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, but I'm in Atlanta right now studying at Full Sail University.
You're at what university?
Full Sail University.
Oh, nice. In Orlando. Okay.
Yes. I love it here.
What do you think? First of all, what do you want to be, and how do you think you can stand out in the market?
I want to be a music industry. Like, I want to start marketing and A&R and things of that nature. And I feel like I stand out because I'm very into social media, and I'm up to date with new artists. Every morning I wake up, I have to get on SoundCloud. I have to get on Twitter. I have to who dropped a new mixtape? With another album? What new song is out right now? Like, I have to stay up to date. Like, it's a habit, and my mom used to hate that all the time, but it's a habit I can't break. It just keeps me going.
So look, can I jump in for a sec? So first of all, kudos to you for being informed. And really waking up every morning, on your grind and being intentional with what you're doing, and honing in on your craft. Going back to what you said, you want to be a force in the industry, marketing, A&R, all of that. I said it earlier about how you can be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So I think it's really important for you to master one thing first and be great at one thing first. Because like now for me, like I'm an author, I'm speaking, I'm doing all these great things, I'm still doing, producing live music events. But I was a dope marketer first. I started doing promotions, I learned that game, worked my way. So I mastered promotions and marketing first. It sounds like you have a great ear for talent. And so if you do, I would really focus on the A&R side first. Because you don't want to just be so all over the place that you're trying to do a lot of different things at one time, if that makes sense. So, like, if you're already going on SoundCloud, like, just try to discover that one artist. You're in the Orlando market. I know it's 3 other people on the phone that attend Full Sail. You guys should meet offline and connect with one another, and really focus. Like, maybe somebody down there wants to be a manager. And so maybe one other person is a writer or producer, and you find that one artist in the Orlando market and blow them up. You start producing events and having things on campus, and that's how you stand out. You find a niche for yourself. You focus on one thing to be great at, and you partner with a couple other people, and they're great at what they're great at, and that's how y'all blow up. And you maybe find, like, the next hot talent out of Orlando. But don't try to do all of that at once. Make sure you perfect one thing. If it's A&R, it's A&R. If it's marketing, it's marketing. Because you want to go and raise that level of expertise so people look at you like an expert. They don't want to look at you like somebody, well, she's pretty good in marketing, or she kind of has a good ear. No, she signed such and such, or she discovered such and such. And now she's got all these hot writers and producers, and she's building this network of people at Full Sail, and you got all these, college students is blowing up and doing big stuff. Like, you be at the forefront of a movement right now at Full Sail, started in Orlando, and get people to value your expertise in one particular thing first.
Got it. I just muted her microphone. I think we are getting the echo that we talked about, so I think that may be the feedback that they're getting. So, all right. So here's what I did, guys. I went ahead and shared Chrissy's information. So what I want you guys to do, and Shanti just said.
But I want to know if she's about what I just said.
Okay. Let's see.
I was moving down so the echo.
Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Very efficient. Hey, Chrissy, go ahead and unmute your microphone on your side. Shanti wants to know what you thought about the feedback that she just provided.
Yes, I am actually with marketing right now. Doug Bailey, he has Doug payment group. And right now I'm working with like his social media. And it was kind of funny that she brought up the Revolt music because I was also a brand ambassador for Revolt, promoting the music conference in the second year. So yeah, like I found like in my marketing and promotion, and I didn't have a love for it. So that's somewhere where I do want to start. Have like a social media platform for every app, for Twitter, Tumblr, everything. I know my way around those. So I kind of
I think you know, valuable in the digital marketing space. You should just own that world, and work your way into being a digital strategist, right? So you understand the marketing, but then take that a step further from the marketing and really provide a strategy for clients or a strategy for people. Because it's one thing to just get on and post, but when you have a real strategy and you're able to execute a plan, that's what makes you great at what you do. So it sounds like you have wonderful relationships. You're already doing a lot, and so I would really just position myself to be the best digital strategist I could be. And then you can parlay in other situations. If you still even want to do some A&R stuff on the side, that's great. But have people say, when they think, okay, I need to hire a digital strategist, okay, this is who I'm calling. Like hands down, no questions, because they know you know your stuff.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck with everything.
All right, we're gonna take another question. Who else has their hands up? We already did Nina Bell, so we're gonna try to get one. Oh, Taylor McMillan is on the phone, and it looks like the phone is muted. So, Yolanda Chavez. Yolanda, she hit me up on Facebook. Hey, Yolanda, go ahead and mute the microphone on your side. Go ahead and unmute the microphone on your side, and after you do that, go ahead with your question. Right now, you're still showing as muted. Can you guys hear me? Yes. If you can hear my voice, just go ahead and type yes. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So, Yolanda, go ahead and unmute your microphone in 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll go ahead and go to someone else. We're gonna take one more person. So we're approaching 10:30, and we want to keep this. All right. Here we go. Queen Love. Alicia Hicks. Alicia Hicks. Are you there, Alicia?
Yes.
Hi.
Well, my name's Alicia Hicks, and I currently go to Kennesaw State University.
Okay.
I'm in the dual business program as well.
Oh, nice. I know a lot of your teachers and professors.
Right, like Keith and all that stuff.
Tell them I said, what's up?
Yeah. And so, I guess since I'm kind of in both as far as like graduate, and I'm trying to get into artist management.
Okay.
And so I was just figuring out what are some ways that I could get into the industry, things I could do now, I guess, to try to get into the field, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing about it is, with the music industry, and this goes for whether you want to work, at a record company or an A&R, because I did it. Y'all have to start at entry-level positions, right? So what I would do is I would try to, do your research, and I'm sure Keith can help with this. Find out what management companies are in Atlanta, or if you're willing to move to LA or New York, say if you have family or a friend or roommate you can stay with, then add New York and LA into the loop, and maybe even Nashville, because I don't want to assume that you just Nashville is another big music town, and they have big music management companies based there. You need to go to those companies and apply for entry-level positions. Because at this point, you guys, when you the ones that are about to graduate, you just need to get your foot in the door, right? It's just about knocking that first door down and being able to walk through that door. And once you get in there, then you can show and prove. But you've got to go and look for assistant positions or even temp positions so that you can get your foot in the door if you haven't already interned there. That's why I always recommend, like at least your junior and your sophomore and junior year, that you're interning at the type of companies you want to work for, because a lot of those companies go back and they hire previous interns. So if you haven't done that, then you're just going to have to do the cold calls and make some visits and get out there and network and start coming to some more events. Come to my ATL Live event. Mix and mingle. You got to get out there and network and be able to volunteer your time to help some of these people. So that's where you need to start. You need to make sure you got a great resume put together, and just get out there and pound the pavement. You may not get a job at a management company right out the gate. Same thing I was telling another young lady. You may have to just get a regular job and continue to network. If you're going to stay in the Atlanta area, it's enough events that happen here that if you start showing up at the right places and people start seeing you, because it's all about consistency, right? And you don't want to just show up and stand in the corner. Show up with a purpose. It's all about positioning when you go into these rooms. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself to people, because this is your dream. Remember, this is your goal of working. The other thing you can do is, I don't know if there are any artist managers that you've already worked for or any artists that you have relationships with, but just say, you know what, I'm willing to work for you for free. I have to work during the day, but in the evenings, let me help blow you up. Let me help you, make your dream a reality. So you have to, I hate to go back to that word free, but, and a lot of people in this day and age don't want to hear that you got to work for free, but I put my dues in the music industry. I work for free. I faxed papers. I got coffee. I did all that I had to do to get my foot in the door. And, everything obviously that's within reason, again, from a moral perspective. But you got to put the work in. And I know it's frustrating because it's different, right? When you want to work in music, it's not like, you go to school to become an accountant and you can graduate and then decide to either go to business school or get hired at an accounting firm. Well, just because you get a degree in the music industry does not mean that you have an easy way of getting your foot in the door just because you have a diploma in music. It's about experience in the music industry. Experience, experience, experience. That's why it's so important to intern and to shadow for people, because that's your way in. It's been like that since the beginning of time, and it has not changed. If you don't know somebody or you don't have the experience, it's going to be tough breaking into the business, and I just have to keep it real with y'all. So that's why you got to be willing to volunteer. I got this young lady that's working with me now as my assistant. Y'all, I'm not even lying. I love her to death. She used to hit me like every 2 or 3 weeks. Now, not every day, but every couple of weeks, and was like, yo, I really want to help you. I want to volunteer, because I also do a lot of charity work in Atlanta. So she was like, let me come help you. She was always showing up at my charity events, willing to work, rolling her sleeves up. Eventually, I was like, okay, excuse me, this girl is serious. So in addition to her showing up, she was emailing me on a regular, and I eventually had to give her a look and say, you know what, let's try this out. Let's see how it goes. Now she's great. She's keeping me organized. She's, has more things happening on her end. I'm trying to help her get some business and some more clients. And excuse me, her persistence paid off. And she did, and there's also, I think, a certain etiquette, right, to being persistent. There's a way to do it so that you're not being annoying, but that you're still staying top of mind with someone, and that you're showing up, and, people are seeing the work that you're doing, or that volunteer work is paying off. So just, know that you might have to just, roll your sleeves up for a good year or 2 or 3 until you can get that exact gig that you're looking for. But the most important thing is getting your foot in the door somewhere. Does that make sense?
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and go on and out. Hold on, Alicia. All right, Alicia, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm saying, you gotta get that plan together. You gotta know which companies you're targeting and go out there and start calling people. And start, showing up at events and introducing yourself to the people in charge and say, hey, if you guys need some volunteers, I'm your girl. Like, I'm really trying to network. I'm trying to create some opportunities for myself. And you might have to just take a regular job and then focus on, your passion and project and what you're really trying to do in the evening.
And that's what I was thinking about. Too, because I was like, I kind of have to pay my bills, but I want to go through with my passion. And so I was trying to figure out my balance.
That's not to say you can't do it and you still can't accomplish your goals. You just have to have a plan and a strategy that works. So if you work during the day, then, maybe you volunteer at a studio or at a management company that's here in the evening hours. It might be harder work for you. You might not have as much time to hang out with your significant other or your family or, just kicking it and chilling. You got to put that time in and make it work. If you want it, you'll find a way to make it happen. It's really that simple.
You're right about that.
You've already started. You got a relationship here. Just start building these connections. Go to more webinars. Go to more events. Ask Keith Parisi if he can hook you up with any management companies here and say, look, I'll volunteer for free. I know I can't do it. I'll volunteer 2 times a week. But those 2 times a week I volunteer, I'm going to be the best volunteer they ever seen, so much so that they're going to want to hire me. You're going to want me on my team. On your team. Go out there and do it.
Well, thank you so much.
for that. And I think I met you at the
ATL Live
event, and you were, Angie Stone was there. Yes.
Yeah. Come
I
on,
think
work
it
for
was
me.
To wrap up.
Come work for me at ATL Live.
Alicia, did you hear what she said?
I just said, come on out to ATL Live. I'm sure if you don't want to, it's somebody else on the call that wants to.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do the first one, but I will definitely be out.
Out. A lot of people come to my show so that you can network with. So feel free.
Thank you.
I can't get the job for you, but I can, help you with some direction. So good luck.
All right, Shanti, go ahead and go with your answer to the call.
Me, let's take PR for an example. I think one of the best ways, if you're a publicist of either an actor or a music artist, is to, find somebody locally and break them in that market. Just start doing the work. I see a lot of people, even students on campus, there might be a talented rapper or a singer on campus, and they start promoting them and blowing them up, creating opportunities for performances, helping them to sell their merchandise at the shows. Like, you start actually doing the work. Don't wait for somebody to give you a job to figure out how to learn how to do the job, if that makes sense. You just got to get out there and do it. That's why, again, the 3 students that are on the phone for Full Sail, there's a lot that y'all can probably start doing right there on campus, to really perfect your craft. I have, students at Syracuse University, that worked at Z89, and they became program director or music director, and then they went on to get hired, at a a major station outside of graduation. So you got to start doing the work while you're at that school or in that particular marketplace. And use your resources, family, friends. Don't be embarrassed if your auntie or mom or cousin or brother knows somebody, use those relationships. Other people in the United States, I won't say any names, but they do it, and they do it well. They refer family members and friends, and sometimes people in our culture, we don't understand the power of relationships. We live and work in a relationship economy, period. It's half of what you know, it's half of who you know. That has been the same since the beginning of time. Even for myself, somebody that's as successful as I've been, and I'm starting out in this new journey as an author and entrepreneur and, you know, still doing stuff on the entertainment side, I find myself having to go back out and re-network. It's all about who I know and who I can establish this rapport with. So I'm constantly on the grind and trying to reinvent myself, but I'm utilizing my resources, and people will notice. Again, if you keep showing up, keep doing good work, volunteering your time, people they're gonna take notice. But the important thing is consistency. You can't just do it once and then if it doesn't go your way, just give up. No, then that's not gonna work for any industry. If you want to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, an entertainer, whatever, you've got to show up and be serious about your craft and what you're doing, and you can't get frustrated. You know, nothing worth having is easy, right? Everything in this life that you're going to get, if it's worth it, you hear all these stories from successful people, whether it's Steve Harvey or, you know, Oprah, all those different networks Oprah had to work for before people took notice. Like, everybody that's great has a story and a journey, right? But they all started somewhere. And you just got to get out there. And the beauty of it is, y'all got the internet, right? Oh, my God. You can start creating, like the young lady that's great with social media. Like, find this new little hot artist or somebody that you're working. But the other thing, too, is you got to be honest with yourself, right? So make sure the artist you're working with is dope. Hello? If they're not that great, then you might not want to necessarily be partnering with that particular artist, because you want to make sure what you're selling is something that you think is amazing and that you're willing to, you know, put your name on and your stamp on. So, you know, have little focus groups. You know, get some students on campus and say, hey, guys, I need a focus group of about 10 people. Y'all, you know, help me out. I'll look out for you, or we can, you know, exchange favors, or, you know, I can get you some movie tickets, or, well, I don't know, whatever. Just come up with some things that are cool and not corny to do some relationship exchanges and some barter agreements. But at the end of the day, have them be honest with you and tell them, is your project good? Is the person you're working with good? And if they're not, then maybe, you know, try to find somebody else that you can be proud of to work with. But I just say you got to go out there and start doing the job, period.
All right, so now we are at, well, first of all, guys, I just want your feedback on this training, because I'm over here taking notes for you guys. So tell me something that you learned tonight. Jesus, there's so many people typing. Okay, we're going to have to slow this down a little bit. But what is something that you guys learned tonight? And I like to ask this just so I know, and we have a temperature of, you know, what you're learning and what you're actually going to implement. So what is it that you learned tonight that you're going to go do, right? As Shanti just said, it's all about action. It's all about what kind of impact can you make, number one, in your life, and then how can you take what you know and the actions that you do and elevate somebody else that maybe can help raise you at the same time, right? So let's see, Desiree says stay consistent. Okay, I like it. And we want to follow Alicia_Hicks. I'll type that in a minute. What other things, guys? Type some things in. Let's see, being persistent, having a strategy and a plan. That is Courtney Ward-Tompkins. Thank you, Courtney.
And let me just say to Courtney, it's important, you know, don't get me wrong, I've had strategies before and I've had plans that didn't work. Sometimes you got to redo those strategies. Sometimes you have to redo those plans. The important thing is give it your all until you've exhausted all the possibilities. And if that plan didn't work, maybe you need to go back and restructure and re-strategize. So you can't be mad at it. If you couldn't get in this way, then you got to create another plan. Just know that even me at this stage in my career, I'm constantly sometimes having to redo my strategies and my plans. You got to have one to start with. If things don't work, you may have to go in and tweak some things.
Just adjust. All right, so that was Courtney. Let's see, Ashley. Ashley says, know your value. Do not get stuck in the valley. Stay up with the new things going on in technology. I love that. Sharissa Holloway. Hi, Sharissa. She says she's going to volunteer more at Full Sail and link up with other students. And again, we have a few people on the call that are at Full Sail. I've tried to type everybody's Instagram in so you guys can follow each other. But be sure and connect with people around you. Maybe you guys can work together. One of you do PR, one of you is social media, find an artist. Exactly. You may have your own little thing, your own little nucleus right there in Orlando. right?
Or a
Big fish in
promoter.
small pond.
Maybe one person wants to be a promoter, or you can book shows on campus, you know, or you can, and don't always think big. Sometimes small and intimate is the better route to go. So you have this little speakeasy that you set up on campus, and you know, it's a little intimate vibe, and you got 20 people, then next time, you know, the word of mouth is crazy on social media, then you got 40 people, then 40 turns into 60, then now you're charging admission, you know, and it just snowballs.
And now people are asking you to go to other spots.
Absolutely.
Spots. Yep.
So start small, find your niche, and create something on campus where there is a void for it. Don't go and do what everybody else is doing.
There you go.
Find your own niche and carve it out.
All right, so let's see. AJ had to mute for a second. I love the webinars. Thank you, Karen. Karen Mason. Yeah, you've been on a couple. Let's see. This is Jayla Darden. She says, follow Jayla Darden. I'll type it in a second. Stay consistent. Don't give up. Yolanda Chavez says, productivity. Faith says, invest in your future.
Absolutely.
Chrissy says she's already connected with the ladies at Full Sail. I love it.
Good.
She has to have tough skin and never take no for an answer. Let's see. China Bullock says the important P's, persistence and perseverance. Like it.
Absolutely.
Yolanda Turner emphasized relationships, knowing how to build and maintain. Karen Anderson, this can go on. This can go on for hours. So I'm gonna, guys, I don't want to skip anybody, but we have to go on. We're almost at the 2-hour mark. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and go forward with this. So Shanti has put together a insanely talented cast of instructors. And she's answering all these questions tonight, but she has other people that are going to join the summit next Saturday. And they're going to ask all these questions in just a second. Shanti's going to go through and explain, you know, how she knows each one of her instructors, why she chose them, and the value that they're going to add. So go ahead, Shanti.
Thank you, AJ. I'm so excited and just really humbled at the relationships that I've been able to create and establish over the years. The first young lady that has so graciously agreed to be a part of the summit is Janae Bolden. And Janae is the editor at Bossip. I know everybody's familiar with Bossip.com. And Janae is a good friend of mine. She's a wonderful writer. And she's more than just the blogs. I know sometimes, you know, people have issues with some of the gossip blogs that are out there, but Janae is a really smart young lady and always trying to create ways of opportunity to support women, and particularly women in music. And so Janae's going to come on the panel and talk about how, you know, aspiring artists can pitch to blogs, you know, how you can possibly make money from blogging, strategies you can take to get noticed as an artist by major blogs, and just to really kind of speak from a writer standpoint, because I know she has aspirations of being an author, and so just learning the game of blogging, and that could create, you know, other opportunities for you. So that's going to be our first guest. My second guest will be Felicia Font. I had the pleasure of meeting Felicia when I worked at Universal Motown, and she was a junior publicist, and she was just, you know, making leaps and bounds in the label, and she always had her pulse on like what was hot. And that's the one thing that I think that's important. Anybody that's aspiring to be a publicist, publicity is so much more than just getting your artist an article online with a blog or booking them a TV appearance. It's all about a lifestyle, and that's the one thing that, you know, Felicia brings to the table. She's the VP of Publicity and Lifestyle at Warner Brothers Records, and she always knows what the latest fashions are, and she's always finding great opportunities for her artists to be a part of outside of just the traditional PR space. So she's going to talk to you about what is publicity. You know, do I need a publicist as an artist? You know, is it important that you have a publicist? What tools do you need for your publicity campaign? And also on the flip side is, you know, how you can pursue a career as a publicist, and can you get experience in the PR world before you're hired, you know, for a full-time position. So she's just going to share all of her nuggets of wisdom, and I'm so proud of her, and I've watched her grow in this industry, and she truly is one of the top publicists in the music industry. The next guest is Alana Williams, who actually worked under me at LaFace Records, and I watched her grow and blossom to probably one of the top women in the entertainment industry today, particularly with urban and pop music. She is now the head of talent for TuneCore. They just opened up their offices in Atlanta, but prior to that, she was a manager for Sierra and broke her on her first album and handled everything from touring to her imaging, to helping her pick her records and finding, the right songs for the album. She also, guys, was the first manager for Miguel and helped break Miguel into the marketplace. And she was the one that took Pink to the next level. She was there at LaFace and started working with Pink early on. She helped the careers of Usher, and just, on and on and on. So she has great experience in management and marketing, and she is, again, one of the most successful and respected women in marketing and management in the business. Our final, last but especially not least, and this lady goes without no real introduction being needed, is Miss Candy Burris. So she is our bonus instructor, and I'm so grateful. She just had her little one, and she's busy being a mommy again. But Candy and I have been friends since she was in the group Escape, and of course, they were a platinum selling group in the 90s. But the important thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that Candy was Candy and extremely successful before Real Housewives of Atlanta, right? Real Housewives of Atlanta is something that came later in her career. She's a music writer, and she was one of the most consistent female writers in the business, and she's written hit records for TLC, for Backstreet Boys, multi-genre, not just R&B, pop artists, and she is a force to be reckoned with. She has so many wonderful things that she's doing now. From an empowerment standpoint, she's about to launch a new restaurant. She has, obviously, some other businesses that she's doing very good with, her Candy Coated Night show. Just, a plethora of various revenue streams. And, guys, this is a real treat for her to even volunteer her time. So she's going to talk to you about how the music business has changed for writers in this day and age, any similarities or differences that she's seen over the last 20 years for songwriters. She's going to, let you guys know if she feels like, writers can still make money. Is it still lucrative for them to be in the business? She's going to talk about artists, is it, as an artist, rather, is it a good idea to pursue a career as a TV personality? I think that's a question I want to know, because we've seen what certain reality shows have been able to do from a sales perspective for like a K. Michelle and a Tamar Braxton. But what does that mean? Does that hurt your brand? Does it help your brand? And also best practices for starting a business. Again, she's taken, I forgot what her actual brand is called, but all of the intimate toys, if you will, that she sells. But she's created a huge business. She has 1,000 representatives across the country. Yeah, it's exactly. It's like direct marketing and like an Avon brand. So she's doing quite well, and I think you guys will be learning a lot from her.
Candy Coated Nights.
Yes, so I'm very excited about that.
All right, so one of the things that I've noticed you say over and over again, Shanti, is that a lot of these relationships that you established, they've been long relationships.
Oh, yeah,
and
long
some of these
standing.
people that you mentioned, even just now in your guests, these are people that you saw start.
Yes.
Or these are people that started with you.
Absolutely.
So I think it's very important to, at whatever level you're on, get in the game now.
Right.
Right? Because, again, the people who are on this call, we've already said we're going to do a bonus where we're going to create a directory of everybody on the call. You just never know. Like Shanti said, you can start out as an intern and end up at the head of a radio station or record label. You just never know.
I know so many stories that I can share, my peers that are still doing well in the industry. Okay, for example, I don't know how many of you ladies know Ethiopia, who is the president of Motown. You can respond and let us know if anybody's ever.
If
you've heard of Ethiopia,
just
type Ethiopia or anything, any response.
Yes, I met her at RMC.
So guess what, y'all? Ethiopia was my intern when I was at LaFace Records, and she was a high school student.
Hold on, can I intern with you?
So Jaha Johnson, who now manages Usher and Common. Jaha was my intern when we were at LaFace. I mean, I have so many success stories of people that were my interns and that are now doing their thing and running the label. Tubby, Sean Holiday, who is like a senior VP at Sony ATV, and he also works at the TV show Empire. Tubby used to come and hang in my office at LaFace and just soak up all the energy. My boy Rashidi, his artist just won a Grammy the other day. He was telling somebody a story. Yo, Shanti just used to let me come sit in her office and soak up all the knowledge. Sometimes if somebody has opened the door for you or created an opportunity, just go and sit and be and listen. Don't say shit. Just sit there and soak up the knowledge. And then ask them, can I just be in your presence and shadow you for a day? So many opportunities have come out of that.
One of the things that I've learned, and I'm going to share this with you guys, and I started doing these webinars for the urban market about 2 years ago, a little bit less than 2 years ago. And just sometimes it's just your proximity to great people.
Absolutely.
Right? So sometimes your proximity to greatness can actually affect your life. I've had people, I don't want to do any name dropping or whatever, but I've had people who had Grammy-winning artists and writers and producers that call me out of the blue and say, AJ, I saw this thing that you were on with Shanti, or AJ, I saw this thing. Sometimes if you go volunteer with Shanti at the event and she's talking to you, people may want to know who are you to talk to Shanti.
Absolutely.
And how do you know her like that? And you can literally be a volunteer and that open up a door for you. So that's why I think every chance that you have where you can get around someone, and I don't know, someone said this on maybe a different training, but who are the people that you're spending time with? Right? Are they upwardly bound? Are they stagnant? Or are they spiraling down? Right? You want to be around people who are going somewhere, right? Just to be in their presence. So again, applied knowledge is definitely power. So, all right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and launch the course. So Shanti, go ahead to the next slide. We talked about the price of this, and Shanti and I just had this conversation, and she said for $300 that would definitely be a steal. You get easily 25 plus years of executive music industry experience.
Quite honestly, I have to say though, it's not even a value. I don't even feel comfortable saying $300 because that's not the value. Okay. I mean, this is like, to me, this course is like, you're talking about seasoned executives that are at the top of their game, right? It's so much knowledge and experience with these ladies, and you don't know who's going to give you that shot. This is like taking a college course.
It is.
It's like thousands of dollars.
Like one day.
For real. Like.
How much did you pay for your course that you just said earlier?
$7,000.
And how many days was it?
It was like 4 days.
4 days, $7,000. So again, with that as a backdrop, with her spending $7,000, and she's already seasoned and dropping $7,000 just to go be around more people. Shanti priced this course, and we won't say the price yet, but we have, of course, Candy, platinum selling artists and writers, and then just these are industry leaders. So let's go ahead and here's what we're gonna do. Tonight until midnight, and this is what we do. Tonight until midnight, $49. That gets you in the course. Each one of the workshops in the course that are led by all these different instructors that Shanti just went through, each workshop that you go through is going to have a Q&A session, right? So you never know. You may ask someone a question, and they may do what Shanti just did. They may say, you know what? Candy may say, I want you to come by my studio because I need volunteers on my radio show or my blog or whatever, her podcast. You just never know. Janie may say, hey, we need interns on gossip. Felicia, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Felicia Fant. And you just never know what being around them may land you, right?
And if you ask an intelligent question, that's a great way to get somebody's attention. I forgot to mention that. When you go to these conventions or you have opportunities, make sure your questions are well thought out. Because people recognize that, like, wow, this young lady is sharp and she has her stuff together. This young man is sharp and they have their stuff together.
And here's another thing you can do. And I got everybody that emailed me the questions prior to tonight. I did get them, right? And we're going to do a live Ask Me Anything with Shanti before we actually launch the course next week so we can answer those questions. But do your research on the instructors. Have very specific answers that you're seeking and ask those questions that can help move the needle for yourself, right? So, again, the course tonight, right now, it's $49. If you go to buy, that's buy.womeninmusicsummit.com right now, you can go ahead and get the course. And it is until midnight tonight. Tomorrow the price does increase. And then next week we're going to do another one of these live training webinars, and the price will be increased there. So go ahead and get it right now. And I think the actual price, I don't have the price out just yet, but for $49 right now until midnight. So that gives you about an hour. Now, if $50 was standing in between me and what I needed to get, that I would borrow, I would beg, I would do whatever I needed to do to just get the $50 and to be in the presence of greatness. So I see a few more questions. So Shanti, we're going to take some questions.
Okay.
Let's see. I agree. Someone in Houston is offering the same course for $1,200.
See?
Similar course.
And look, I ain't even trying to get over on y'all. I mean, as you can see, and the value of these ladies, we could very well be charging $500. But,
easy.
You know, I'm trying to help the young generation. I know you guys have it tough. I know some of you guys are looking at graduation, and, you know, the future may seem bleak.
Welcome in, Margin. Welcome to the summit. We got you.
But just know that, again, going back to investing in yourself, I mean.
Journey, congratulations. Everybody is fine. Let's see, just bought my ticket. All right, Ashley. I'm just kind of reading them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're having a celebration.
And we're going to keep this going. Like, the cool thing is, guys, like, you know, we're going to continue doing webinars. I'm going to do one on networking. I'm going to do one on entrepreneurship and invite in some of my friends that have successful businesses, you know, whether they're in PR or other industries. I just launched my book, like I said, the 1, 2, 3s of self-publishing a book. I'm launching the 1, 2, 3s of the music biz in April. I mean, content is king. I'm just continuously trying to put content out and trying to inspire you guys. My brand is the hip hop professional. And so, you know, college students, if you want to be featured on my website, I do a college student spotlight. It's called 5 for 5 Student Spotlight. I'm going to be doing more Google Hangouts, and I really want to be like the young Oprah in this game and help this young generation and be a real thought leader.
You get a career.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, it's enough money out there for all of us to eat. But the one thing I can tell you, even for me, in the second act of my life, is clothes. I think it was Ace Hood who said this. I'm going to go back to my hip-hop roots. Closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard. So you got to step up.
Closed mouths don't get fed.
You got to ask what you want. You got to be smart. You got to be 2 steps ahead of the competition. You know, you got to create great relationships for yourself that work. There's things that I want. I'm looking for opportunities now. I got a couple of major brands that's looking to sponsor some of my speaking tours. And guess what? It's up to me to keep reaching out and staying top of mind with those brands. I'm doing the same thing. So everything I'm telling y'all, I'm doing it now for my brands and my careers. Also, ladies and guys, I just launched my merchandise. So if you are a hip-hop pro and you love what I'm talking about, I got a T-shirt that says Gold Digger, G-O-A-L Digger, not the other Gold Digger. So if you go to Etsy.com and go to Hip Hop Pro Swag Shop, Hip Hop Pro Swag Shop, you can find my merchandise. I mean, the sky's the limit, but it's my dream, and nobody is working harder than me to see my dreams come to fruition.
All right.
And I cannot say that enough to you guys. If you want it, go out there and get it.
It's right here. The word is yours. Let's see. Yes. Okay. Let me explain that as well. The audio will be available after the session. So you can access this information from your phone, your iPad, Android and iPhone. I don't know if it works with BlackBerry for you BlackBerry folks, but you can access that, and then we will have the raw audio and the raw slides. You're going to get a copy of the audio, you're going to get a copy of the video, and you're going to get a copy of all the slides. And we're going to put together a few handouts that we're going to give you guys, right? So you're going to get all that, and that will be, the raw information will be available within 2 hours after the summit ends, Saturday evening. And then the edited, and we'll break it up into all the different workshops, will be available following that Monday. Now, after, you can buy the videos separately. We haven't figured out what the price is going to be. But it's definitely going to be more than $49. So you may as well just get it now, and so you can have it, right? So again, you can have audio, video. Yes, it will be there. If you can make it, again, you can listen to it in your car. Welcome in Cameron. Thank you for signing up. Any other questions we have for Shanti? We are actually over 2 hours, so we're going to do about 2 more minutes, and we're going to let Shanti get some sleep. Let's see. I intended full sale. They say this is awesome. It's awesome that you know Ethiopia. She said it's not that she knows, it's that she helped put her on the map. Let's see. Audio will be available. Yes, it will. All right, guys. Go ahead and go over. We have 56 minutes. 56 minutes left, and you can get the full, 6 hour training for $49. That's less than $10 an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're not.
Well, and then you have your nonprofit that you're doing the proceeds to.
I do, yeah. I don't know if you guys heard earlier, but a portion of my proceeds is going. I'm finally launching that scholarship, the Hip Hop Professional Scholarship. So I'll be giving away scholarships starting in the fall.
So Queen.
But I will award it in the summer, though.
So Queen said that she won't be in Atlanta. Here's the thing, Queen. It is a digital summit.
Yeah, it's virtual.
It's virtual. So the summit, what you're seeing tonight is exactly what's going to happen that day. We're going to have all the ladies. They're going to be logged in, answering your questions live. It's a virtual summit. So you don't have to be in Atlanta for this. I just want to be clear. You do not have to be in Atlanta. All you have to do is have internet connection. You don't even need an internet connection, actually. Just pull out your phone. It's going to be on your phone. And we're going to email you the slides, the video, and the audio MP3s if you want to take it.
And guess what? Hold up. Oh, my gosh. God is good, right? So I just found one of my friends who is a successful photographer is listening in. Shout out to Donna. Love you, Donna. She's willing to sponsor one of the students for the summit. So, AJ, we got to figure out what they can do to win a free pass to the summit, because I got somebody that wants to sponsor a student that might not be able to afford to pay for the summit.
Everybody's like, me.
So we'll have to get back to you guys with that.
So here's what you do, though. Stay glued to your emails. Emails will be coming from myself, AJ. Emails will be coming from Shanti. Your ATL Live in the Park, is it from Shanti Das?
It's from Pinecone, Marlon Nichols and Shanti Das.
Marlon, okay. So stay tuned.
Or my hip hop professional.
Just look for emails from Shanti or myself, and we're gonna come up with a way. Let's see. I'm trying to buy. Oh, wait a minute. Let me type it in, Yolanda. So you have to type in http://buy.womeninmusicsummit.com, and it should go right over there. Send to all. And guys, if you can't see it, let's see. There you go. I typed the link right there. You should be able to click on that link that's in the chat window. And it'll take you to the PayPal link. So yeah, we have scholarships are being volunteered now. So I'm just reading feedback from the Dainty Chick. I would like to thank guys for being so, that is honest. Thanks for being so honest and transparent.
Absolutely.
Let's see, questions for, wow, she has a whole list of questions. All right, let's see, this is Tiffany Gardenhire, newedgemanagement.com. So we're going to ask those questions next week. Artist manager. Yeah, we're going to ask your question on next week's summit, because this is a long, you gave us an essay, girl. But that's good. That lets us know that you're engaged. All right. Okay, guys, we have 53 more minutes before this price goes away. This is from Donna. Let's see. Shanti, you are an amazing, great woman. Thank you so much for giving back. What is Donna's first and last name? I would love to look her up.
Donna Permel.
Donna, what is your website? And I will go ahead and type it in. And what is your Instagram? Donna, and it's P-E-R-M-E-L-L. Thank you so much for taking this time. It is Prime Focus. Oh, I've seen your stuff.
She is the bomb diggity.
Yeah, your stuff is dope.
You see the picture that's on here? Y'all see this picture? Yeah, Donna did that.
And Donna, what is your Instagram? I want everybody to go follow. Everybody go follow Donna. If you're still on the call, we have 49 people still here. That is like even after all the people left. So go ahead and follow Donna. She is Prime Focus with a PH. I'm going to type it here. At Prime Focus. She shoots for Ludacris too.
Everybody.
Kim said you shoot for Ludacris. Hey Kim, what's up, Southern Night? Let's see who else. Any other questions? Donna is awesome. GSU. I'm deleting that comment. Just purchased. Thank you for joining. We'll see you on the 12th. And again, guys, here's another thing that you can do. Help us spread the word, right? So we're going to send out an updated flyer to everybody that's on the call. Share it on Instagram. Share it on Facebook. Have everybody come. We're going to do another free call next week. We want to try to put 500 people on the call. All right? Let's see. Shanti, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead. Thank you, Shanti, for your insight. She's heard you multiple times.
Thank you.
I get something new every single time.
Yay!
Donna says, do you want to buy the ticket now? Donna, we can talk to you offline about how we're going to do that. Thank you so much for doing that. That is totally awesome. Let's see. I will wait. She'll wait to hear from us later. All right, guys. So again, I'm just gonna say a few things, and I'll give it over to Shanti for last words. Again, I want to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy evening. Thank you for all your participation, all your questions. Thank you for sharing everything that you did on social media. Again, I just appreciate it. I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy the engagement. I enjoy learning real time from such awesome people. So again, just hats off to everybody. Thank you, Shanti, for doing this. I just appreciate everything. And that's all I have. So I'm going to give it to Shanti for closing words. You guys have 50 minutes left to get it for $49.
Guys, I just, really, it's an honor to be able to share my story and my knowledge. One of the things that I took pride in my career over the years is being able to share my wisdom and knowledge with other women so that we can learn from one another. One of my mottos is, lifting as you climb. I believe it's important for us to help at every stage of the career with helping somebody else. We don't know everybody's story, right? I told y'all that I suffer from depression, but even on bad days, I still work my way through and try to share my knowledge and help that next person, because until you walk in somebody's shoes, you don't know their story. So I try to judge not, but I try to help. And once somebody opens that door for you, it's up to you, right? And what you make of it. I can't make you an executive in the entertainment industry. You got to go out there and put the work in, but I can't open the door for you. And one of my quotes in my book is my Shanti-ism is, I learned as a young girl not to let others dictate my future. I learned as a young girl not to let others dictate my future. That thought process set me free. It's my future, so it's my business. It's up to me to make it happen. What are you going to do to make your future happen? I wish everybody the best. All the college students out there, rock hard, good luck in finals, do well. I speak at if you want me to come speak at your school or you work on the student union board, let me know. I'll send you the proposal. I love what I do as the hip-hop professional. It really is a brand, and my mission is to become a global thought leader, inspiring the professional development of young adults. So I salute all of you guys, and I'll see you at the top.